Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm SNB and this is Codebase Alpha. This is the stream where we're currently programming a synthesizer using .NET Core 3, WPF and the N-Audio framework. So this is episode 42, and today the main kind of thrust of the stream is going to be to try and create what we call patches, which is basically save settings of our synthesizer so we can then recall them, and that way we can set up like instrument presets and things like that. So we've already got a quite nice kind of bell sound that we've created over time, and I think we can also get some other kind of instruments saved away as patches. I think we had quite a nice church organ sound as well. So that's the that's the plan for today. There will be a slight break at some point, about 5 o'clock, for about 2 or 3 minutes while I go and do start a backup off upstairs. So do expect that to happen. But other than that, we should be able to get straight on to the code. So let's go and have a look at the code. Okay, here we are. We're in .go. Here's the code. Okay, so I did a few off-stream GUI changes, just some GUI smartening up really. So I'll show you that first. So if I actually fire up the synth, what I've done is tidied up the GUI a little bit. So it's a work in progress. So what I've done, I've surrounded each of the synthesizer controls here with what's called a group box. So you can see, rather than having the title envelope ADSR at the top there, we've got this group box. It's really Windows, isn't it? With our controls inside. So here's the low pass filter, the sub oscillator, the vibrato. So they're almost like kind of modules that you might kind of plug into a physical synthesizer. There's some tidying up to be done. There's some gaps around, and this is now quite a large canvas we're working to. But other than that, I think it's a bit tidier now. We've got a bit of changes to do on this side as well, because these are a bit sparse. There's a few changes I want to make to this. I want to be able to have a fine-tuning slider here, so we can tune in cents, which were hundredths of a semitone, and maybe some other controls. I'm not really quite sure. I was thinking maybe individual low pass filters and things like that, and maybe we could have graphic equalizers and things like that on here. I'm not really quite sure what we're going to do with the rest of that space. But we'll probably be taking a break from working on the synthesizer fairly soon anyway, so give us time to come up with some more ideas to progress it. As you can see, we've got our MIDI control here. Here's a MIDI keyboard, and we've got over in the MIDI control, as you can see, it's detected I've got the LPK25 keyboard. I can switch MIDI on, and now I can play using that. Funny enough, I haven't switched it on. There we go. And in this case, this octave control is not being used because I've got an octave control button on my MIDI keyboard, and it's coming in currently. I think it's A4. So the octave A4. Okay, so that's how that's working. So we can switch the MIDI off, and then we're back to our computer keyboard, as you can see. Okay, so that's basically what I did off stream since last stream on Monday. I just did a bit of tidying up, so there's no code changes. So let's stop that. So as I say, the main kind of idea what we want to do. Cody Beard, welcome to the stream. Good afternoon. Nice to see you. The main idea that I want to kind of get through today is to be able to save and recall the settings of the synthesizer, and there are quite a few settings. We've got our octave settings for voices 2 and 3, and our semitone tuning settings. We've got the MIDI device, probably won't save that. We've got MIDI enabled, possibly save that. We've also got all the all of these values here. So the different wave types that we've got on our voices, the default volume, probably shan't change, save that, but we've got the attack, decay, sustain and release values for our ADSR envelope generators. We've got our low pass filter cutoff and Q value, tremolo values, chorus, phaser, and what we put in lately was the delay function, the delay effect. So we've got those values, and of course there are different levels of our voices, which are now, as you can see, in decibels. In fact, we'll just put in dB there, so that people who read the code know that those are in decibels. So 0 is full volume, and minus 48 is very quiet indeed. You probably could go to minus 60 really, but silence is minus infinity on the decibel scale. So what I did before the stream, if I bring this across, I went into Visual Studio Code and I just created what I thought would be a reasonable JSON structure to store these settings in. So as you can see, we've got a patch name, and then we've got the master voice settings, so the wave type, the attack, delay, etc., and the level. And then we've got the sub voices. So I've got 2 at the moment, but we could add as many tabs to our synthesizer as we want, and add extra voices and extra complexity that way. And then we've got our various on-off settings, our low pass filter, tremolo, chorus, phaser and delay, and I'll split them up like this, so that if we do add another effect, for example, in our issues list, we've got adding a flanger. We might want to add some reverb, saturation, some panning perhaps to pan between the stereo. Currently everything's mono, but we can actually convert our mono signal to stereo and then pan the sound. So there's things we can do around that kind of effect. They could all then go on, and they'd be fairly simple to add. So let's try this. So what I've done is I've put some kind of indicative data in. So that actually is wrong. That needs to be 11, the number, not the string. So let's do that. I've put in some values so that when we convert this into classes, it has a reasonable chance of getting the data type at least approximately right. So these are this is an integer. This is going to be a float. It'll probably come through as a double or something like that. So let's copy this, and I'm just going to go into another tab here. Now I don't know if you're aware of there's an extension for Visual Studio Code called Quicktype. I think it's actually built into Visual Studio itself, but we'll use the version here that's in Visual Studio Code. And what that enables you to do, if you install that extension, which is which extension is it? Paste JSON as code is the extension by Quicktype. So you go and grab that, install that. What you can do then, if you copy your JSON structure to the clipboard, what we can do is then run that command, paste JSON as code. I want to do validate it first, and then it'll ask me what language I want to create. You can create classes in all these different languages. We're going to take C#, and then it wants the name of the top level type. I'm going to call it patch. The reason why we're calling it a patch is that that's kind of the historical name for settings on a synthesizer. I mean, literally, when synthesizers were first commercially available, things like the Moog synthesizer, it literally was patch cables. So you physically plugged in parts of your synthesizer, your oscillator plugged into various effects and filters. So there we go. We've got a we've got some classes that's been created by Quicktype for us, and some useful kind of support classes there, as well as the data, and they've all been nicely annotated with JSON property. So let's go over now. I'm going to move that across onto the other screen, and we can start to build that code into our project. So let's create a folder, add a new folder, and we'll call that patch. And inside there we'll add a new class which we'll call patch. Okay, okay, let's go and get some code from that file that got created for us. So the first thing it did was give us a bunch of using statements. So let's bring those across. And it's got Newtonsoft, and we haven't got Newtonsoft in our project yet. So let's go and get that as the next thing we do. So we want to go to get new packages. We're going to now browse for Newtonsoft. Okay, there we go. So that every time I've downloaded this package, there's been millions and millions of more downloads. And we're on version 12 at the moment, so let's install that. Okay. So there we go, we're installed. Okay, so this is going to be, what we're going to do now is just grab all the code from inside that Quicktype generated file. So that should be down to there, I think. I'm just going to paste that in here. Okay, so we don't need to have Quicktype in front of any of those. And there we go, we got our file. And we don't need that using statement. Okay, so let's move some of these types out. Let's have a look at the types first. So we've got a lot of doubles, and I think those doubles really want, because we're natively dealing with floats, we might as well convert them to floats. So let's just do that. So let's do a search for that, search and replace, and just change that for a float. And we want that just in the current document. Oh yeah, 24 versions converted. Okay, there we go. Right, so I think we should move some of these things into their own file. So let's use that facility to move type to file. So there's a chorus. Let's move delay across. Low pass filter. And we get our phaser information. Tremolo to file. The voice class. And that's it. So then we've got some static classes. We can move these out as well. Move that out. Converter that can move out. And what have we got? Another some internal classes here. These can go out as well, I think. There we go. And so then we can just merge those two together. Okay, so we've got our basic file structure there with a few classes, most of them data classes, and some conversion classes in there. And that's actually tidied up our usings quite nicely. We don't need all this now. And you notice that code rushers will have created the right using statements for us up here, as we did the file, the move out of the type. Link slumps. Yes, link slumps. You do need to submit your PR. So let's have your graphic equalizer. You're going to need to keep up with the project, because it's probably moved on since you last did a fork of the project. So just do a sync down to your local repository or a fetch, and let's get that PR in. It'd be nice to see your contribution. Your brother visited and ruined your coding motivation. Oh dear, never mind. Well, if he's now moved moved on, you can get back in some coding, and why not contribute? It'd be really, really nice to have a PR from you. I really enjoy having the PRs because people have different ways of solving problems, and it's interesting to see what they do. Okay, so we've got our patch. So over here in our main view model, let's create a method to actually create a file, create that structure rather, not exactly a file at this stage, but to create that that data structure. So let's have it's got to be public, so let's move ourselves into the right location in this file. I like to keep my public methods close together. So let's go up here. This key note off. So on the basis of that, let's move note off back down to where we just came from, because that's where note on was. That note off should go down here, just to keep it consistent, and then we can put our creation method here. So this is going to be a public method. It's going to return, well, we're going to want to return JSON, so it's going to return a string. We'll call it create patch, and we'll pass it a name. Okay. Let's get the spelling correctly. Create patch. So we can say var patch is going to be a new patch. We need to bring in. Can we bring in a? No. Patch. Yeah, there we go. And then we can return patch, and we should have a toJSON method on this now, because that's what it was called, toJSON patch. That's from JSON. Our converter. I'm sure we had a serialize. Yeah, toJSON. Do we want to serialize? Well, let's bring this namespace in. I think that's what we're missing here. Missing a namespace. So using that. Okay. We should be okay down here now. In fact, where were we here? We should be able to just do patch.toJSON at this stage now. So patch.toJSON, yep, it's there now. Okay. So now it's going to be a matter of just kind of filling in the blanks. So let's start off with a patch name, and that's going to equal name. And then we've got what? Let's go for MIDI enabled equals enable, is it MIDI enabled? Yeah. So now a bit of left hand, right hand kind of boilerplate kind of stuff we've got to do. So level is going to equal level 1. Attack is going to equal attack. Decay equal decay. Sustain. And release equal release. Like that. Then we've got, we go over to patch. What else have we got? So we've done, we need wave type, and then we're into the effects. Let's put wave type here. That's going to be wave type 1. Okay. So wave type 1, so that's going to be the integer value of wave type 1. We're going to store the int. And then we can just, well, we'll do the effects. We're going to have to do the voice snare, but we'll do the effects. So low pass filter is going to be a new low pass filter, and that's going to is that enabled? Enable low pass filter. Then there was cutoff. And Q. So that's the low pass filter. So then we can have, trying to figure what direct. So there's the low pass filter. Then there's we've got sub oscillator. Enable sub oscillator. Right, that believe that should be on its own. Sub oscillator, vibrato, because those don't have any, currently don't have any actual controls associated with. There's on or off, and they're fixed values. All the parameters are fixed for those. So what we'll do is we'll move those values up in this block of simple types. So low pass filter, and then we had tremolo. So that's going to be a new tremolo object, and tremolo is an enabled. So enable tremolo, and then we had a frequency multiplier, which is an integer. That would be tremolo frequency multiplier. Then we have a frequency, tremolo frequency. What else was the tremolo? That's it. Enabled, yeah, that's it. That one. So how is everyone today? Still at work, I guess most people are, in the UK at least. So I've kind of taken a break at the moment from work. I've got to continue after the stream, but there's a strong possibility that I'll do another stream this evening, and that'll be a C++ stream, and it'll be highly experimental. Highly experimental. I'm not a C++ programmer, So I'm going to be using something called the Juice framework for the first time in Anger. So it's going to be highly speculative. So it should be, if you like, kind of car crashes on streams, then my stream later on today is going to be the one for you. But I'm looking forward to it. I wanted to do some work with Juice right from the start on stream, so that we can really kind of go through the process of trying to learn a new framework, really. So CodedBeer, technically the shift is over, but you're still working. Isn't that always the way? You're currently trying to stop a feature of the WinForms app taking 14 hours to run, then crashing. Sounds a bit like our finance system, which if you try to do a trial balance or something, it takes more than 24 hours, then crashes. But it's been replaced, so it'll be fine. So that's tremolo. Then we've got, after tremolo, we had a chorus. So that's going to be a new chorus. So CodedBeer, it's syncing data from the 70s era mainframe system into a SQL database that the WinForms app actually uses. Oh dear. 70s era mainframes, wonderful. Links, you ruined your web page server yesterday. Got to redeploy it. How did you ruin your web server? Links lumps. Did you just release some code to it and it broke? I've had that before. Oh yeah, you modded the whole drive. Oh well, that's kind of a learning experience, isn't it? That kind of thing. I think this kind of thing you do once and then you never do it again. It's like deleting a disk pack or something like that. You do it once and then you don't do it again. Okay, chorus. So what the values on chorus? So it's delay. No, it's chorus delay, surely. Delay. That's going to be equal to chorus delay. And the width is going to be equal to chorus width. And the sweep. Chorus sweep. I think that's always on chorus. Yeah. Then we've got a phaser, not a Star Trek weapon. And this has got more values in it. So this has got the dry signal. Phaser dry, the wet signal. Wet. That'd be the phaser wet. So this is what we mix in the wet and dry, the processed and unprocessed signal back into the mixer. Linksums, you'd say so, yeah. Honestly, that's the first time and last time you'll do that. Hopefully, anyway. Unless it's programmatically, which is a lot easier to do, of course. So what's it complaining about here? There's not any difference from wet. Phaser. Wet, you see. There we go. To fix that. Then there was, I forgot already, feedback, phaser feedback. CodedBeer, say that currently it just goes through every single table and updates the values, even if they haven't changed. Okay, each time it takes about 2 minutes to process a single entry, and the tens of thousands of entries. That sounds. I forget what sector your business is in, CodedBeer. Is it financials as you're using mainframes? You've got your work cut out of that company. I hope they pay you well, CodedBeer. I really do. And you're doing them a massive favour, modernising all their systems. We've got a frequency. Environmental services. less money but the same problems. Okay, interesting. Then we got the phaser sweep, which is how we sweep from our frequency, the side of the frequency, to get the phasing sound. And then there was the width, how much we actually sweep away from the frequency we give it. So if we give it like 100 hertz, then we're going to kind of sweep so many hertz either side of that. That's the width of the sweep, and that's the phaser sweep. And we got our delay, our new one. So once again, that's got a dry value. This is going to be the delay dry, a wet value. Delay wet. We've also got a mix, which is controls how much of the wet and dry we actually mix back into the how much proportions of wet and dry we mix back. No, the proportion of wet and dry we actually extract from the input, and then we mix back the wet and dry proportions at the end there. So this is going to be delay mix. Freddy Beard, the sync code was written in 2002 when the app was first created. There was only a couple of entries. Yeah, so they didn't prematurely optimize that one, did they? Okay, tens of thousands you say now, and 2 minutes a row. Yes, Linksums, there are a lot of legacy systems out in the world. In fact, obviously we create legacy systems as well on a daily basis. Stream working. Welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you before. Yes, I am a professional developer. I've been a professional developer for a very long time, working in lots of different environments, lots of different languages, and doing lots of different jobs really in professional development. Currently, I'm a development manager. I don't work for myself. I work for a company. I'm a development manager, and we're a team of 7. Delay, and then we've got, what else have we got in there? Oh, and a feedback. Delay feedback, and then the actual delay itself, which is milliseconds, and that's delay milliseconds. The stream working, you only stream video editing and motion graphic animation, so that's really interesting. So I was watching Code Rushed yesterday afternoon. He was doing some video editing for an effect that he was doing, and that was quite interesting. Everyone else seemed to think it was like watching paint dry, but I found it very interesting. He was using Adobe Premiere, is it? I think. I'm streaming from home at the moment, stream working. So I do work from home a couple of days a week, which is very useful for me. I don't like commuting. It's hard work commuting. The Link Slumps is constantly in an internal battle whether to learn graphic design. Yes, I lost that battle many years ago. I'm not a good designer, so I'm a back-end developer. So working on GUIs is quite alien to me, which is why I do struggle with it. But we're going to be, hopefully, if I do stream again this evening, and there's a good possibility I will, we'll do some GUI design in C++, which would be interesting. That'd be cross-platform GUI work. So luckily we've got a framework to help us. Company cool with me streaming. I don't stream anything to do with work, stream working. So it's a completely unconnected personal projects. So what we've done over the kind of 42 episodes so far of Codebase Alpha, we started off doing a very short series on building a secure web API. using JWT bearer tokens. So I think the first 3 episodes were that. And then we built an Alexa skill from scratch on the stream. So there's probably 7 or 8, 9 episodes where we built the Alexa skill. Then we did a GraphQL endpoint, and we kind of linked that in with the Alexa skill, so that the Alexa skill uses that. We built that, we PR'd that GraphQL endpoint into a project run by one of the other live coders, who's a member of the live coding stream and also streams code, and that's Dev Chatter. So on his stream, we built that into his Dev Streams project. And then after that, what did we do? We built a conversational AI chatbot using the Microsoft Bot Framework. And there's still a bit of work to do on that in terms of deploying it to Azure. We haven't got that far, but the chatbot itself is written. It's all upon GitHub. So if I type the GitHub command, then if you're interested in seeing all the code that we write on stream, it's up there. And it's obviously open source. It's free for you to contribute to clone, to fork, to mangle, to copy, to use yourself. Am I interested in co-working or meeting more developers while you're working, stream working? Well, I have reasonable contact with developers day to day, as I do manage 7 of them, and I do we do a lot of watching of streams. I would be interested in obviously meeting up with my fellow streamers to kind of talk over the whole experience of coding live on stream. It's a different experience as a developer, and as an introvert like myself, I'm not a flashy outgoing kind of chap. So I do find it a challenge sometimes, especially when things go wrong. But that's when it goes wrong and you have to battle through. That's where things get kind of more interesting to watch as a viewer. So I try not to delay things off stream. Actually, that reminds me, we did hit a problem on stream last time, didn't we? We had our algorithm kept blowing up. So I will. While I've just thought of that, and if you were watching the stream on Monday, it's worth seeing the solution to that. So in the display sample provider, it was blowing up around about this line here. And what I found, it was going this pos underscore pos was going negative, and of course you then use that to index an array here. I just put a math absolute around that just to prevent it going negative, and that has sorted that problem out. So I'll show you that in a few seconds. Stream working. Started a site for creative streamers with the idea that we can all learn faster from each other, sharing our work and process. Yes, that's it. You won't be able to share it, but if you go over to our Discord, I'll invite you to the Discord now. If you go and join Discord and post the link there, then I'll be able. It will be shared with all the people who are in the Discord. So there's a fair number of people over there, and I'll also grab the link and post it myself. I've got Nightbot as my moderator currently. Nightbot won't let you post a link, but if you post it over in the Discord, I'll check it out and then post it up for you. So Cody Beard, let's see what you were talking about there. Someone doing work experience. Became a BI analyst and was asked about earlier today. Why you're the person who wrote it? We asked him why it was written that way. You had no idea what you're doing. He said he had no idea what he was doing. Yeah, and I come across that virtually every day with looking at code other people have written who've now left. You can tell when people didn't know what they were doing, and I mean, when people are given a project to do and you have to kind of figure it out right from scratch, then you can kind of forgive people for producing code which is substandard, but you would hope that over the years, people like yourself, CodeB, would have visited that code and improved it. So obviously, it just lay dormant there for since 2002, I think you said, and now it's fallen to you 17 years later to actually pick up the pieces, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, you can whisper it. I think you can about whisper it stream working. So do that. Okay, so now we've created a patch. I think that's everything we need to actually cover off. Let's just make sure. On our patch, we've got phaser, chorus, tremolo, low pass filter, MIDI enabled, vibrato. I think we've got all those. Oh, just the voices next. Okay, let's do the voices. So Stream working, thank you very much for the follow, that's very kind of you. I'll give you some Electric Alf. So Alf is the little alien you can see there. He's our co-worker up on the code base here. So here's Electric Alf showing his supernormal powers. So here's our celebration for the follow. So thank you very much for the follow. It's really, really appreciated. So we're kind of, what's that, 208 now. So heading towards our goal. We have another Alf celebration, which is the hyperspatial hype. I'll just play that. Just this is normally when we get a subscription we play this one, but just out of interest, here we go. Is hyperspatial hype. So this is both of these are WebGL shaders which were created for the stream by our friend FuelSnable. Yeah, I didn't know the whispers were blocked. That's interesting. Thank you, Streamworking. Just pop it in the Discord, and then I'll be able to share it that way. Okay. So let's finish this off. So voices 0 is going to be a new voice. Now we're just going to code this in the simplest way possible, and then we'll smarten this up later on. That tends to be what my kind of modus operandi is to just build the simplest thing we can. So the level is going to be level 2. The wave type is going to be wave type 2. Wave type 2, and then we got tack. So what we'll do is just pinch all here actually. Tack 2, delay 2, state 2, release 2, and then we've got our octave. It's going to be that's the int value of octave 2, and our semitones. This is the tuning. It's going to be the int of semitone 2. And then we'll just create the same for this one. It's confusing having 3s when it's voices 1, but then we'll tidy it up. It's part of the kind of standard refactoring that we tend to do. Okay, so that's that, and then we need to set voices voice equal voices. Alright, so that should save all that information. So let's try that. Let's just give it a go. So what I'll do is I'll find the off button, so execute off command, and what we'll do is in here we'll just say var Json equals create patch. Just pass test into that. In fact, did we set the patch name? Patch name, I don't think we did. Oh, we did set the patch name to name there. So here we're just going to pop a breakpoint here, and we'll just check that our JSON's been created correctly. Let's fire up the synthesizer. If you haven't seen the synthesizer, we'll give you a quick demonstration of it before we actually check out that breakpoint. So here's the synth. It's getting quite big. I'll switch it on. I'm going to play with the computer keyboard. I've got the MIDI keyboard here, but we're not going to play with that initially. So last time what we found is that when I moved the delay here, it crashed, and that was because the algorithm was allowing a position within an array to go to negative numbers. So we fixed that by just putting a math absolute around that, so it couldn't go negative. And because it only goes negative very occasionally, it shouldn't actually distort our sound. I'm not quite sure why it was going negative really, but it's obviously not. When you're indexing into an array, you don't want a negative number, so that seemed to be the best safeguard. So let's set up a bell sound again. So we had I don't know, 400 millisecond delay. Our sustain volume was quite low, so we get that ringing sound, and our release very high. We had some vibrato going, I believe. We want some ring modulation, so we'll whack this up to, I don't know, 400 hertz there. A little bit of chorus probably wouldn't help, or wouldn't hurt. And we'll select the mid-range octave. So let's play the note A with this sound. It's a bit like a bell. So we can add our other voices in here. Let's put some figures into here. Let's drop that right down. Have that high as well. We'll have, I don't know, minus 10 decibels of that. We'll increase it by an octave so we get some overtones, some harmonics. And once again, we'll just fiddle these a little bit. Staying low again. And high release. And let's have this at minus 10 and voice 2 at minus 3. Okay, so now play the note A. So that's quite bell-like, isn't it? So if we go to a higher octave, about having a bit of phaser on it as well. So that's quite a convincing bell. So you can see we've got our waveform that's been developed here. So, and this is a spectrum analyzer. So it's showing the frequencies that are in our waveform. So we can also put a low pass filter. We don't need to do that really. I think that's quite a good sound. So let's switch off, and we should then hit our breakpoint. And we do. And let's have a look at the JSON we've got created for that. So in our JSON visualization, so we got patch name, main volume. Well, the main gain on the first voice is 0 decibels, which is correct. Sine wave is 3. we've got our our envelope settings here, and our voices set up here. A low pass filter, tremolo. We've got most things switched on. Chorus, phaser, and a delay. So those are the settings that we can save. Pity we couldn't save them at the moment, but okay. So let's get rid of that. So now we need to do a bit of WPF work. We need to actually have a control which is going to actually allow us to save that to a file. And this is why I hit the internet. So it's WPF save file dialog. Let's see what we find. And we've got the complete tutorial, which seems to be what I hit all the time when I'm looking for WPF. So I'm going to hands up. I'm not a WPF programmer. I'm not a front-end programmer at all. I'm a back-end developer. So I'm learning WPF at the same time as we're doing the development. But that's why we're doing WPF, because we're on .NET Core 3. We're on Preview 6 at the moment. So this is it's still relevant to kind of theme of the stream, which is using kind of the latest Microsoft technologies, which is kind of the overarching theme. We're kind of doing Microsoft stuff mainly. We're going to break away from that in the extra stream, which we're going to do this evening, which will be some C++, but we're going to use Visual Studio, so it's still kind of Microsoft kind of feel to it. Okay, so apparently we've got a so what we're going to do is simply have a button by the look of it. So I'm going to have a click event. So we'll just pinch that. No, we should be okay. Don't like this notation. Don't like having these Hungarian style notations. Just personal. I don't like that. So let's go over to our XAML file. And see what we can do. So I think we'll have pardon me, the patch save and recall in this area. So if we go to this group box, scroll down, it says working with XAML is something of a pain, I find, but still, let's have a group box. With a header of patches and a font weight bold, and then inside that I'll have a stack panel. We don't need to have a name for it. It's going to be oriented vertically. Inside the stat panel, let's just have a button. I wonder if I try B space. There we go. We get a button. So this is going to be save patch. We're going to want to have some text called save patch, and in here we're going to want to have a click event of some kind. Is it click, new event handler, save patch click? Okay. I think that's all he had. It's the name and an event handler. Don't see it appearing here yet though. So we need to locate this stat panel, don't we? So the stat panel is going to be going to be here. Let's go and see what I did here. So I set the group. Okay. Let's copy that and go back down to where we just were. So the group box is going to be we want column, grid column 0, 1, 2. Save patch now appears there. Okay, that's not too bad. Let's give it some margin. So let's say, what should we say? 10, 10, 10, 10. Give it a width of 100. Why is it centered, I wonder? Okay, well that'll be all right. And we want the font weight of normal. I wonder if we can have a nice rad. We can change this button. We did a height on it. I think make it a bit bigger. Height of 50, 30. Yeah, that'll do. Or just 10 if you're stable. Can you just say 10, can you? And that'll be, yeah, that's okay. Don't repeat yourself, absolutely feel stable. Linksumps, you're on a pop run, okay. We'll see you again soon, Linksumps. Hopefully we'll still be going. We'll try catching me later on this evening when we do some C++, which should be a laugh. I wonder if we can, is there anything we can style this button at all? Button base. No, we'll leave that. Leave it for now. Come across, do some more on it later. Yeah, I don't know how to style it, so I'd like it with nice round corners, but we'll leave it with that. So that's going to be our save patch. So we should, over in our XAML.cs, we should have the we'll select the save patch. There we go. So what did he do over here? Let's just grab this piece of code and see what it does. So so we need to bring some controls in. System Windows Forms, I imagine. We need file. Interesting. Gives a dialog result. What's the dialog result? It's a bool. It was a nullable bool, wasn't it? We do that. Alright, is there a has value on that? No. Show dialog has given me a dialog results. Dialog results. Dialog result. Let's just capture that. Dialog result. I thought that was an enum. That's a bool now. So if dialog result has value and it's true, then save dialog file name. We're going to need to protect this with a so if the view model is there, if view model not equal to null, then we're going to do this. I'll see. Feel stable. How would like it to look? I'd like it to have round corners on the button. Really. In fact, it goes for all the buttons I've got. They're a bit kind of square and naff looking, really. So it's getting time. I need to take a 2 or 3 minute break to go and do this backup upstairs. So I'm just going to call view model dot create patch and pass in let's grab this. Can we get just the file name without extension? We'll just save it as the file name for now, and then revisit that part of it, I think. So we want to now constrain what file name. What have I done? What's going on here? I brought in the wrong reference, I wonder. No, ambiguous. Windows Forms. So this is Windows Forms. That should get rid of that, and it's this one which needs to have System Windows Forms. Save dialog in front of it. Okay. So what else? I think we need to be able to restrict what. So we can filter it that way. Let's try that. So it'd be a JSON file. Just JSON. Okay. So that's the dialog result. It has a value. Have they got any clues over here? Initial directory setting. He's just doing that. Save dialog schedule is true, but I'm not able to do that by the look of it. WPF show dialog. Looks like a nullable bool. Interesting. You can do a demo for me for rounded buttons. Thanks, thanks for your stamp. That'd be great. So I'm just going to go on to be right back. I really do need to go and start this back up upstairs. So I'll be gone for a couple of minutes. So do bear with me and go and get yourself a drink or something and relax. I'll be back soon. Right, we're back. The backup's kicked off. Okay, let's have a look. So, dialog result. So here we're getting result is a dialog result. So what have we got on there? This is a nullable bool. Has flag. What the hell's has flag, I wonder? It should have has value, surely. Has flag. What does has flag do? It determines whether some bits are set. So I can't tell it's Dialog result can be used from the code that shows a dialog to determine if the user accepted true or cancelled false the dialog box. If the dialog box is cancelled, it's false. By default, dialog is cancelled, blah blah blah. Typically provides an accept button, yes. You need to manually write this code, usually from the click event handler to the default button. Is null when the dialog box is shown but neither accepted nor cancelled. After the dialog box closes, you get the dialog result by show dialog method or by inspected the dialog result property. So it must be there for us, mustn't it? Let's give it a go. So we said dialog results. Has value and dialog results. So let's just pop a breakpoint here and see what happens. Let's fire it up. Okay, so we'll just hit save patch. We get here, we're going to, I don't know, let's go into documents and patches. And we're going to call this one factory settings. And save. We come here. The result is okay. So it looks like obviously this is not correct. So let's just go into here as if that actually worked and continue. And we'll go off to documents, patches. We didn't save anything though. Okay. Let's break this apart. And we'll put the JSON there. That result was okay, wasn't it? If results fair enough. Let's pop it there again. Okay, it's just an object initializer version of it. We'll accept that. Okay, well, let's try again. Say patch. We come to here. Choose patches. Go to defaults. Save. We step into there. File name is defaults.json. We run that. We've got our JSON file. We've got a JSON text. We write. Continue. Documents. Patches. There we go. We're at our file. Open with code. Where's it gone? There we go. I think we should be able to do a view command palette. JSON prettifies. There's JSON uglify. Well, it's all there, isn't it? Looks okay. Okay, well, we've got that part of it to save. So let's now do the opposite, and let's have a something to read the file in. Go back over here. So we got our stat panel. Let's just tidy the file up. We'll have another button rather underneath that. Recall patch, load patch. Load patch. Load patch click. Right over here, let's go and see what we do to load a file. Open file dialog. That's and kind of stuff, isn't it? Really. Let's grab that. So if view model not equal to null, let's just do that. Okay. tidy that up. And then we're going to put braces around that, and once again it's going to be the same deal here. It's going to be open file dialog. Goes in there, and then var patch Json is going to be equal to that, and then we going to want to, on view model, we're going to want to pass, we're going to want to call a method called recall patch, and patch Json to that. I mean, it's going right that. Let's go and write it now. Okay. There's our create patch. Var public void recall patch. Get the JSON in. Then we're going to say basically patch is equal to so we've got deserializer over here somewhere. Converter, is it? Nope. There's a serializer. It's in patch, isn't it? Yeah. So it's going to be patch dot from JSON. From JSON. Let's stick a breakpoint at that position there and just check that that's working okay. Come on. Patch JSON. There we go. Okay, so let's load a patch. Factory defaults open, and we've hit here, and patch should now be populated. It's looking okay, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, that's good. So now we need to just basically reverse this process up here, and we'll put all these into their own classes at some point. Just once again, we're going to do the simplest possible thing that's going to work, and then refactor. So okay, so let's just run through. So level is going to be equal to patch dot level, wave type 1, equal to patch wave type. There's MIDI. I'm not sure about saving MIDI really, but MIDI enabled. Level wave type. What else was there? Then the attack. All these. Fix those semicolons. So patch.wave type. So this is going to be signal. Can't remember what it is. Signal. It's amazing how quickly you forget the type. So that is the wave type is going to be a signal generator type. So that's going to go there. There we go. And this is going to be equal to patch dot sub-oscillator enabled, and that's patch dot vibrato enabled. Yep. We're just going to go through the rest of them, aren't we, really? There's not much else to do. Let's leave a gap there for the voices, and then we want to have LFO. Actually, enable LFO. Enable low pass filter equal to patch.lfo.enabled. Low pass filter rather. Let's cut off frequency. Cut off is equal to cut off, and Q is going to equal to patch.lfo.q, not LFO, low pass filter LPF. We've got our low frequency sub oscillator. That's it. Patch. That's a long. Let's cast it to in for now. Let's fix it up in the actual file, shall we? That was over in low pass filter. So that's going to be an int. Okay, then we've got what else have we got? We've got tremolo, cello, enable tremolo, enable tremolo is going to equal to patch.tremolo.enabled, and then tremolo frequency is going to be tremolo frequency multiplier. It's going to be that. Once again, I think that's the frequency there is probably the incorrect type. It needs to be an int, and that needs to be an int. Okay. So that's the tremolo, and then we've got chorus. Chorus. Feedback, was it? What is it? Delay width sweep. That's width and sweep. Pure stable. WF works like that. This controls behavior and style separated. Okay, so any well-made WF control can be restyled completely while preserving the behavior. For a button, you created a new style that uses that over the default one. The same approach can be done with any well-made control. Some of them are quite complex. Thank you very much. Thank you for the PR, Pure Stable. We'll include that. That'd be fantastic. Okay, and then we've got a phaser. Let's copy those. I think there's quite a few of those values. I think there's at least that. We've got the wet value. And the phaser, there is a frequency. And there is a width. And there's a sweep. Nothing else, I don't think. There's a feedback. And then we've got our delay. Delay milliseconds is equal to patch delay dot milliseconds, and that's going to be the same problem. That needs to be converted to an int. It's not, we got anything else like that? No, everything else is fine on that object. And then we can copy that line for a bit. So we got wet, dry, mix, and something else at least. Delay dry. Delay wet. Mix. What else have we got on the delay? Feedback. Should have known. Feedback. And then we got level 2 is going to be patch dot voice 0 dot level. Once again, we have to cast that to that signal generator type, like that. Then we've got tap 2, decay 2, sustain 2, release 2, we've got octave 2, and we've got semitone 2. So that's going to be decay, sustain, release, octave, and semitone. So that's another thing, we're going to sort the voice out there. So that's going to be that's an int, that's an int as well. Okay. And they've got to be cast, haven't they? So that's going to be cast to be a an octave. That's going to be cast to be a semitone. I believe that's correct. Yeah. Do the same for the next voice. As I say, we'll sort it all out in terms of making it nice and tidy at a later time. Just get it working. That's a 3. So we're going to need to put some protection in here to make sure that someone doesn't put these out of bound. So we'll do that in a minute. Let's just see if it actually will load up some settings. Okay, let's switch on. Let's change everything around. Mix all this down. These up. Randomize everything. Put that on. Put that on. Put that on. Put that on. Go to the voices. Make it a triangle wave. Just make ridiculous changes. Let's move all these as well. This 3, we'll make this, I don't know, pink noise. Octaves don't matter for pink noise, but we'll just do it anyway. Okay, then we'll load a patch, factory defaults, open, and it all goes back. Sweet, looks everything's gone back correctly. Looks okay. Yep. Okay, yeah, it's working fine. Okay, so we need to put some protection into this. We don't want to load things that are out of range. That needs to be a 1 there as well. Okay. So we need to reject this loading of the patch under certain circumstances. So what are the circumstances? So if patch dot voice dot length is not equal to 2, then we need to reject that. Gareth Hubble, thank you for the subscription. Wonderful. Let's have some hyperspatial hype. Thank you so much, Gareth, for the resub. 4 months. Wow, it's really gone quickly, hasn't it? That. So there's hyperspatial alpha, millions and millions of infinite numbers. And you probably notice that when we run that, that's being generated in real time. That's not a video, so it's different every time we look at it. And also the stream kind of just starts to stutter a bit when we run that. But let's have some electric alpha as well, because I know Fuel Snake will appreciate that. C++ is later on this evening, Gareth, probably from about 7 o'clock for an hour or so, just before your stream, really. We're going to foolishly try to do a bit of C++. Patch voice. Dear me. Thank you. So that's a reason to fail. And then does these enums need to be in range, don't they? So what's the range? Octave is 4, 0 to 4, 0 to 22, and 4, 0, 1, 2. Interesting, that was 0 to 6, isn't it? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6. So we'll just put some crude validation in for the moment. So if patch dot in fact, I'll sort that out at some other point, I think. If there's no voices in there, just change that. Let's do the conditional load basically. So we're going to load two voices. I'll take care of the other part. So voice then. So we're going to public method on there. Populate. Pass in. What do I want to pass into it? Can we pass in a reference, you think? Can we pass in a reference to view model? We're going to pass back voice. Okay, we'll think about what we need to do exactly. Not quite as neat as you'd hope. I'm sure we can think of a better way of doing this. But we'll persevere for the moment. and that needs to be a static. So Gareth, yeah. So you're thinking of changing your streaming times? That's interesting. Let me know what you decide. Yeah, the Dev Streams project that Brendan's doing, when that goes live, it's going to be really, really helpful for planning streams as well as kind of finding streamers. So I'm looking forward to it. Where are we? Over here. Is that not going to send a reference? What's a ref to this, does it? It's read only. Well, when you want to do things like that to pass the reference around, is it gonna not let me? Let's have a look. It's a shame, isn't it? Won't pass this around. Oh, well, let's just get rid of that. Well, I'll think about that. I want to tidy that. Don't lock it the way it is. To tidy it up. Okay, well, I think we'll just make sure that still builds and runs, and then we'll leave it at that for today. And I'll go and have a think about the refactoring that I want to do. So let's just make sure it still saves and recalls, and then I'm going to have some tea, and then we'll look at planning another stream a bit later on. So decay time here, staying really low, long release, some delay, vibrato, bit of ring modulation we said for bells. A little bit of chorus, and a bit of phasing as well. We want to be sine wave there. Full volume on voice number 2. We'll have 4 decibels, 1 octave above. Sine wave again, fast attack, some kind of decay, long release, and pretty similar. We'll have minus 9 decibels, 2 octaves above, fast attack, some kind of decay on there. Once again, a low sustained volume and a long release. Let's see if that sounds as we want it to sound, like a bell. quite that bell-like as I'd like, really. Chime and the bell, isn't it? I think that'll do. So we'll save that patch and we'll call that bell. Save. We can load our factory defaults and then load bell again. Okay, wonderful. I think that's we've got the kind of stream objective has been met there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push that up to GitHub. Episode 42, which of course is the answer. Let's commit that, and we'll sync it up to GitHub, and it'll be available for you to have a look at, have a play with, and do whatever you wish. Once again, my GitHub is here. All my videos are archived to YouTube, so you can go and visit YouTube and look at previous broadcasts. Do subscribe on YouTube. It's completely free to do so. It does help me out. And also we've got our Discord. If you'd like to join me in the Discord, go here. And of course, follow me on Twitter for the latest news on pop-up streams, and keep an eye on Twitter if you are subscribed, or if you are, do follow me on Twitter for any news of the evening stream, which I'm hoping to do in about an hour's time after I've had something to eat. So do take care in the meantime, and I'll see you a bit later on. Let's find somebody to raid. I'm hoping that we'll find Code Rush is streaming at the moment, so let's go and have a look. Yes, he is. So let's go and raid Code Rush. If you haven't seen Code Rush before, then you're in for a treat. So we're going to raid Code Rush. So I'll see you a bit later on, and enjoy your evening, and take care, and hopefully a bit of C++ later on. So let's all raid Code Rush and spam that chat with our emotes if you have them. So take care, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye.